a lot, might find themselves at quite an advantage over the Indy regulars who have not raced in the rain for almost a year and a half.
The cars have already started and are moving on the parade laps. Let's take a look at the starting grid on the pole. Jacques Villeneuve, his third pole in a row, comes with a new track record. Jimmy Vasser alongside, the third front row start of the year for the Portland winner. In row 2, it's Teo Fabi, who has never fallen out of a race at Toronto, and Scott Pruitt with his best starting position of the year. In row 3, Bobby Rahal, the winner of the inaugural race in Toronto in 1986, and Michael Andretti, a winner at Toronto in 4 of his last 5 starts. In the 4th row, Robbie Gordon. He won the last race on a street circuit in Detroit. And Al Unser Jr., one of his 2 wins here came from 8th starting position. In the 5th row, Andre Ribeiro. 1 year ago here, Honda scored their best finish ever, a 2nd. And Paul Tracy, who won here on his home circuit in 1993. In row 6, Gil de Ferran. His best finish of the year was an 8th on the oval at Milwaukee. And Christian Fittipaldi leading the point standings for the Rookie of the Year. In row 7, Danny Sullivan and Mauricio Gugelmin. The 8th row, Adrian Fernandez and Raul Boesel. The 9th row, Emerson Fittipaldi, the 87 winner, and Stefan Johansson. In row 10, Brian Herta and Eddie Cheever. The 11th row, Alessandro Zampedri and Eliseo Salazar. The 12th row, Carlos Guerrero and Eric Bachelard. The 13th row, Marco Greco and Hiro Matsushita. And alone in the 14th row is Buddy Lazier. Now here we're ready to run 98 laps of competition as we take a look at the race analysis. That's 279.1 clicks here in Canada. For us, of course, it's 174.4 miles. The key is the fuel stop, expected to be at 35 to 37 laps. In the Nations Cup battle, well, it's the United States on top, but Canada hopes to close that gap here today. And then taking a look at today's field and the breakdown, chassis, engines, and tires. And in the Manufacturers Championship right now, Fort Cosworth still on top, and Honda now beginning to score some points and to close in. Now let's take a look at the track here, 1.78 miles around, and the key passing areas are the very first turn down by the Princess Gate and turn 3, which is off of Lakeshore, one of the streets that they're using here at Exhibition Place for the circuit. A real trouble area is at turn 11, just before the start-finish line. They've been working with an overnight patch there. It's fast and very dangerous, even when it's in good condition. Let's go to Gary Gerould.
Paul, a quick update on Michael Andretti. He's had such a frustrating season. The frustration is continuing already. They're having a problem with his telemetry, getting to work and receive the needed information that governs things like fuel consumption here in the pits. So that's a big concern right now as the engineers work on it. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, Gary, many of the big crews are very excited about the fact that the sun has come out once again. They practiced under overcast skies this morning, and many felt that they might have to change the downforce and the handling characteristics of the car, worrying about rain. But thus far, it's hot and humid, approaching 90 degrees, just like it's been through practice and qualifying.
All right, so we are ready to go racing here in Toronto. The weather forecast, though, has indicated that there's cellular thunderstorm activity in the area, and so we could have sunshine one moment and then a downpour the next. Now behind the PPG pace car, driven by Johnny Rutherford, they become aligned. The rows of 2 moving through the 10th turn under their final bridge and looking ahead to the starter. Green flag. Jacques Villeneuve jumps right out in front. Vasser comes to the inside. Tracy into 3rd place. Now down the long fast section, heading for the next passing area on the course. The field through nice and smooth. Boy, Jack gets a tremendous jump. Michael Andretti trying to make a move from the outside. And he comes around Teo as the field now closes in. Here comes Michael. Michael tries to get past, can't get it done there. And already Brian Herta in trouble as he rolls off the edge of the course. Scott Pruitt looking very strong, running in 3rd. Michael Andretti trying to catch up to him. Front of the field is still Jack. And this is the view back from Brian Herta's car as they try to either get him off the course or get him going. Getting back into competition. Sounds like the motor is running.
Herta snake bit here. This is where he had his big accident and his broken legs last year.
Jacques Villeneuve leads the first lap as they scream across the line. That's the area that everybody seems to be concerned about, but so far it looks pretty good. Now the indication now that they're going to go full course yellow, and this is the reason. So that will change the strategy. Probably not this early in the race.
Not really. Everybody's in a good solid line. I think Scott really showed some real aggressiveness there in holding the position, third position, when Michael was trying to press. But other than that, I think everybody's in a solid line, and it isn't really going to affect the race strategy that much.
So full course yellow will come out, they say, though as yet we have not seen the flags that would indicate that. The field is lined up in competition. Jack Villeneuve, Jimmy Vasser, Scott Pruitt, Michael Andretti, Paul Tracy. Still looking. There was a report that they were going to slow this field because of Bryan Herta's position. They have not done so. Okay, keep an eye on the right side of the screen. Herta actually got in contact with Stefan Johansson and then Eddie Cheever. Cheever and Johansson both able to continue on, and it looked like there was some contact with Eric Bachelard there behind at the same time. No full course yellow. They're going to keep in competition.
It must have been on one of those. They have 3 corners here that they can actually put the car behind the tar barrier and remove the car from the track without having to, go full course yellow. So it looks like that was one of the corners.
Yeah, and IndyCar has been fairly conscious of that. Sam.
Well, we saw waving yellow at this turn, and here is where they're trying to extricate Herta from the tire barriers. But they're obviously going to stay with that local yellow at that one turn, which is very good news for the race.
Except that it's taking away, Lynn, one of the key turns, one of the 2 areas that you can really pass.
That's right. I mean, but it's early, so I think that, they've just got to really stay clean here and stay in line and stay close to whoever they're going to try to get by.
As we ride with Bobby Rahal, just be aware of how rough this track really is. We spoke earlier about Paul Tracy and the trouble he has with his injured left foot, and it's because of the bumps that throw his foot around inside the cockpit that he's in such pain in the race.
Down past the first turn, the Princess Gate, you ride with Bobby Rahal. He runs in 7th position.
185 miles an hour down this back stretch, running along the shore of Lake Ontario. Then they slow for the tightest turn on the track right here, turn 3. You see Rahal following Bobby.
Rules for the waving yellow area generally say from the time you see it until the time you get past the incident or past the final yellow, you have to maintain position and cannot pass. Teo Fabi, number 33. Some that expect a great deal out of him today. He was quickest in the morning warm-up. Currently runs 6th. Paul Tracy closing down on his teammate Michael Andretti for 4th. And there's Bryan Herta, the walk back.
I gotta say, it's great to see him get away from his car and be able to walk away from it this year, which of course he couldn't last year.
I would almost say that he's probably relieved at this point that he doesn't have to run here. Remember, he was in a terrible accident here a year ago. In fact, at first they said he would never walk again, let alone drive a race car. And here he is, not only driving the race car, but able to walk away from it after that first lap incident.
Now, here's the man who's in great pain, Paul Tracy. His left foot injured. His stitches have come loose twice over the weekend. He spent more time over in the medical tent than in the race car. He had a bad night Friday night when an alarm went off in his hotel. They all woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. He didn't get back to sleep. He's on some painkillers. This man may last only 10 or 15 laps before the pain in his left foot really begins to overwhelm him.
But doesn't that speak to him, Sam, as a competitor, that he's out there, he's doing the best he can? Many others probably would have said, nah, I can't do it.
Paul Tracy is an awesome competitor. I've gained so much respect for him this summer. He had that brilliant drive in Portland with tonsillitis. At Elkhart Lake last week, he drove with the foot in great pain. Again, he's shown his colors this weekend. Paul Tracy is one of my major heroes, I'd say.
So Jack Villeneuve in the lead of the race with 5 laps complete. In second is Jimmy Vasser, then Scott Pruitt, then Michael Andretti, the man we were just talking about, Paul Tracy.
Polar Beach by Arctic Ocean. Music by Metallica and Hole. Light show by Mother Nature. And ice by Molson. Molson Ice. The Molson Ice Polar Beach Party. Labor Day weekend. Also appearing, Veruca Salt and Moist. Tuktoyaktuk, Canada. See displays for details. Get up there.
Wet roadways like this inspired Goodyear's newest all-season Aquatred radio, the all-new Goodyear Aquatred 2. with a deeper, wider aqua channel to sweep water away for outstanding wet traction and a new TreadLife compound. Goodyear gives you a 65,000-mile warranty, so you've got wet traction when you need it. The all-new 65,000-mile AquaTread 2, only from Goodyear.
Toyota Atlantic is much more than an exciting race series. It's the road to Indy. Champions like Rahal, Andretti, and Sullivan have taken this very same route. Toyota is committed to the Toyota Atlantic Championship because we may not know where the next series champion will come from, but we know where he's headed.
If you settle for a remanufactured engine without a brand name, be sure you've got a pair of name brand shoes. AC Delco Engines, the national brand name with the nationwide warranty. Call for a location near you. Of course, if you come in on foot, we'll understand.
ABC Sports coverage of the Molson Indy Toronto. Brought to you by Molson Ice from Canada, the land where ice was born. Toyota Motorsports, our minds are always racing. AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. And Goodyear, #1 in tires.
Welcome back to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Exhibition Place. The Indy cars. Jacques Villeneuve leads them, followed by Jimmy Vasser and Scott Pruitt. Nothing has changed since we last left you, though they are running very close at the front. And we're still waiting to make sure that they get all of the course clear. It does appear that turn 3 is clear now, and they can run through here. One car to watch is Bobby Rahal. You're right on board with him right now. He's been moving back and forth at the back end of Teo Fabi in an ongoing battle for 6th place. Now you take a look back toward Teo Fabi from Paul Tracy's car. And let's go pit side and Jack Arute.
Well, the nature of this course, a temporary road course, should make for a 3-stop race to take on fuel to go the distance. And here's what's interesting about that. The team that's behind me, they service your current leader, Jacques Villeneuve. Team Green has had incredible fuel consumption throughout the course of the season. They get as many as 3 laps longer than their competition. One of the reasons why, according to Barry Green, is the handling package that they have come up with. What they are able to do is go with less downforce, creating less drag. Therefore, they leave less horsepower to be able to go the same speed as the competition. Less horsepower being generated, less fuel being consumed. And sometimes that can play a critical role. We've seen it here before in Toronto, but we won't know until the onboard telemetry tells us what they'll have to take on for the last stop. But Gary Gerould for Michael Andretti, that onboard telemetry could be a problem.
Well, it's a significant problem. The telemetry brings a wealth of information from the computer on board the car by radio wave into the pits, and they have banks of computers down here that absorb the information, and the crew makes critical decisions. Fuel mileage is certainly one of the most critical. What they don't have now is the service of that telemetry here from Michael Andretti. They're working on it. They're not sure they're going to have it by the time this race ends. So in the meantime, every few laps, Michael will come by. He'll radio his crew, his fuel reading on his dash. They'll try to make the calculations from there. Paul?
Continuing to watch this close fight for 6th, Teo Fabi. Bobby Rahal lined up behind him. Now we come forward as Jimmy Vasser begins to close on the leader, Jacques Villeneuve, and Scott Pruitt closes in as well. Here comes Michael. Here comes Paul. The rest of the field through. Look at Rahal as he moves back and forth. He's been doing this lap after lap on Teo. Back on board with Rahal.
Rumored split between Rahal and his longtime car owner, Carl Hogan. That's shaking the racing